It's Bill Henner, and I actually got my start at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in 1969 when I was 16 years old. I was fortunate that I had family members who had been in the business. My grandfather was actually a broker at the old CME starting in the late 40s, and my father became a trader as well. And I decided to take a look at it. I needed a summer job, and back in '69 it was a very interesting place. Now this was at the old Merc at the corner of Franklin and Washington. I believe that building was built back in the 20s or early 30s, and that had been the home of the exchange for quite a few years. Now back then the trading floor was a lot different than it is now. It was very small, and when I started working there, I believe there were only 3 active pits: the live cattle, the live hogs, and pork bellies. Pork bellies at that time were really the most exciting commodity that was being traded at the exchange. I remember, of course, also back in those days the market was only open from 9 till 1, and it was wonderful to be able to run out the door and get to Wrigley Field by the bottom of the 2nd inning, and I probably went to about 40 Cub games that summer. I took some time off after that. I actually did not come back to the exchange for almost 10 years. I wound up going to college out west, decided that I wanted to try and make a go of living on the West Coast in California, and turned out that just as I graduated from college was probably one of the worst recessions this country had had since the 30s. So finally I decided, Chicago didn't look so bad. So I came back to Chicago, got a job as a clerk, and in 1979 I managed to get a seat at the Mercantile Exchange, and I started trading gold futures. Now back then gold and cattle were definitely the 2 hottest products on the floor of the exchange, and by this time the exchange had actually moved over to 444 West Jackson. Much bigger trading floor than we used to have. And the markets were very active. The IMM had been started by then. Currency trading was going on off in the corner, but gold was definitely the most exciting big pit going at the time. And that's really where I cut my teeth as a trader. After that, I saw an opportunity in the British pound pit. I moved over there and traded for quite a few years there before moving to the Swiss franc. And then I actually spent my last currency trading days trading in the Deutschmark futures. And I'll never forget the first time I walked on the old trading floor, when I was just a kid, and just the absolute energy and noise was something that was certainly caught my attention. I remember the characters too in the old days. Back in the old days, people used to smoke on the floor. There were no women, or maybe just a handful working on the floor. Certainly no women members at the exchange, and it was really a completely different experience than what it became over the many years. Certainly I spent almost 25 years trading on the floor in various pits, and I spent my last few years actually trading in the S&P pit, which of course was the biggest pit we had at the CME, actually the biggest pit that they ever had, except for possibly Eurodollar futures. Now I'm trying to think back on some of the most memorable moments that I had as a trader. There were certainly a lot of them. I'll never forget the crash of '87. Just the amount of fear that was going around the exchange in those days. That idea that we didn't really know if the exchange would even open the next day. Concerns like that fortunately most traders maybe never even experience. But that was a very interesting time, and I also remember some of the other great moves that the markets had over the many years. Trying to think of some of the funniest memories I had too. I think most of the funny memories are just related to some of the really quirky individuals that I met in the course of being on the trading floor. And to me, that's probably the one thing that I miss most about the old style of doing the business. Now with electronic trading, the market has become very impersonal, and there's not that face-to-face, individual personality aspect to trading that used to exist. And that's, I think that's kind of sad that that's disappeared. And I'm certainly glad that some people are recording some of the experiences of the people that were down there in those years. Favorite charity? Well, I'm a big fan of education, and I've always felt it's very important to support entities that do provide good education. So I tend to support my my alma mater, my college, as much as I possibly can, and certainly also I'm a big fan of some of the museums here in Chicago as well.
All right, great.